Estee Lauder launching its 2015 breast cancer awareness campaign, which will be driven by social media. The cosmetics giant urging people to use social media to share how they take action in the fight against breast cancer by sharing text, pictures, or videos.
My action is being there for my father since my stepmother passed away from breast cancer.
Joining me now is William Lauder, the company's executive chairman. Nice to see you here.
Thank you for having me.
This is something that you do every year, but your theme is different this year. Every action counts. Why the increased focus now on social media at this point in the campaign?
Well, there's a number of things, Rhonda. First of all, for 22 years, we have been talking about raising breast cancer awareness. We've been lighting landmarks such as the Empire State Building or the Eiffel Tower for years. Everyone's wearing pink ribbons, pink ties. There are all these NFL players who are starting this weekend are going to be wearing pink gloves, pink socks, pink shoes, pink wristbands. And so we feel that the awareness theme has been pretty well accepted by the audience whom we're speaking to. So now we're talking about taking action. What are you going to do to help someone who's been impacted or a family member who's been impacted by this disease? What are you going to do to help? We're also inspired by the Ice Bucket Challenge that happened a year or so ago and the impact that viral social media can take on a campaign, both to raise awareness and bring engagement to a cause that everyone agrees is the right mission to take.
How does it change on the fundraising side? Did you change the way you set the goal? And what do you hope to do with that money raised?
We still have the same goal. We've raised, our breast cancer awareness campaigns have raised over $58 million to help fund brilliant researchers around the world who are seeking a cure for breast cancer. Our mission is still to raise as much money as we can so we can fund as many researchers as possible. The work that they do is brilliant, hard work, takes a long time and a great deal of patience to do. And so we need to continue to fund this. And think of some of the statistics. In the early 1990s, if you were diagnosed with stage 1 breast cancer, you had a 75% chance of survival. Today, that number is over 92%. And that's largely because of the brilliance of the researchers. And instead of it being a meaningful side road to your life where you would be going through chemo, you would likely lose your hair, you wouldn't be able to go to work, you'd spend weeks in the hospital. For many people who are diagnosed with breast cancer, it's a bump in the road. They may or may not have cancer, they may or may not have chemo, they may just have radiation. It's going to be far more targeted, they're likely not to be losing their hair, they're likely to be able to be with their families and never spend a night in the hospital and be able to go and work. So if you think about that progression and you say how far we've come in 20 years, think of how far we're going to be able to go in the next 20 years. But in order to be able to do it, we need the fuel, which is the money, to support the research that's being done by these brilliant scientists.
And you have a personal connection as well. Your mom was the one who actually came up with the pink ribbon. And now it's ubiquitous, really. What do you think when you see it? It's right on your lapel right now.
You're absolutely right. It's my mother who created it with someone else, and the awareness is great. I have a pink ribbon on every single one of my suits, and it used to be that I just had them on my suits for the month of October for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Now I keep them on my suits all year round. And I'm so proud of the inspiration that my mother gave to all of us for this campaign. It has energized so many people inside of our companies, the Estee Lauder companies, and so many millions of other people around the world. And the pride that people take in what we do and how we do it is just fantastic.
What do you expect to learn from the social media-driven campaign this year that can be applied beyond philanthropy, that can be applied to the day-to-day business?
What's really incredible about what social media does is it increases a level of engagement that individuals have with others, and it increases their ability to almost broadcast their own passions to people other than their most immediate friends by what they tell them over dinner. And you realize that you hear these phenomena of people having created something, and next thing you know, they've got hundreds of thousands or millions of followers, and they're 16-year-olds in high school who came up with something inspirational. And again, I made reference to the Ice Bucket Challenge, which is something that just sort of took off, and so many people did it all over. And you look at that and you say, my goodness, what a change this has become, because now any individual with their smartphone is their own authority and editor. Where previously, 20-something years ago, before social media, before the way the technology has evolved, editors were the editors and they were the authority. Now, anybody's an editor, anybody can share their opinion, and anybody can choose to listen or not listen to anybody else's opinion. So it's changed our whole society and how we interact in so many different ways. And I think social media will continually teach us so much, because There are times when people perhaps share too much, but the reality is most of the time that sharing helps you learn an insight into what inspires people.
William Lauder, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm Rhonda Schaffler for The Street.